Welcome back, everybody, to week 9 of our NFL prediction series here. Myself, along with my co-host, Mr. Graves. Unfortunately, we missed last week because I have been under the weather for about 2 weeks now, but we're back again, and he has our rankings or our, standings right now. Unfortunately, as I said, we didn't have any of the games from last week, but he still has new rankings, and I'll let him go ahead and explain those to y'all.
All right, so after, I guess, our bye week.
Yeah, we took a bye week off.
We both actually had winning records for the week before last. I went 10-4, you went 9-5, and it brought you up to 500 on the season. You're now 54-54, and I'm 63-45.
I think after finally getting over 500, I deserved a little bit of a break, and now we're back in full swing on this. And let's not waste any time on it. Let's go ahead and hop right into the AFC matchups, why don't we? And start off with the Colts and the Patriots now. The Patriots are an interesting team, still sitting at 4-4.
Yeah, but they just narrowly beat the Jets last week with Zach Wilson still throwing 3 picks.
Yeah.
And they got dominated the week before by the Bears. But I'm thinking the Patriots are going to continue their little streak here.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Patriots here just because the Colts have struggled at about anything they've done this season. So.
Yeah, and Sam Ehlinger, he looked decent last week, but
looked a little lost still.
Yeah.
Both of us go Patriots there. Next up, we have the Bills and the Jets. The contest to see how many interceptions Zach Wilson can throw this week. And
this might be a little surprising, but I'm taking the Bills.
Yeah, I'm going to take the upset for the Bills. I think they're going to pull it off against the Jets somehow. And I don't really think that game has a lot of discussion around it, but it would be kind of crazy if the Jets upset them. I'm just not really seeing that happening, and the Jets. If this happens? They fall to 5-4 on the season, so that'd be 3 straight losses, something like that. That'd be weird. Well, not really. That'd be kind of normal how we expected them. Maybe they should put Joe Flacco in. But yeah, I know. Somebody but Zach Wilson. Next up, though, we have the Raiders and the Jaguars. Jaguars, a team that started out a little hot, but now they've fallen off the face of the planet.
I think they've lost 5 straight, maybe.
And, something like that. And the Raiders are a team that never really got it going when you expected them to.
And they got shut out last week by... Who shut them out? Was it... I'm trying to think who it was.
I can't remember who they played last week.
Dang.
Was it the Saints? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it may have been the Saints.
Yeah, I think it was the Saints.
Shut them out.
So
I'm going to go Jaguars.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. I hate to go with you again on this one, but I don't know what's wrong with the Raiders. They've looked bad pretty much the whole season, and you kind of keep expecting them to have that breakout week, but sitting at 2-5 right now, and if they lose this week, you've got to think that there's some really bad playoff implications right there. It's going to be a rough climb from that valley they're in right now, but both of us go with the Jaguars on that. And now the final AFC matchup of the week, Titans and Chiefs. A weird matchup here because Titans sit at 5-2, so it's really not that uneven of a matchup as you would think it would be.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Last I checked, they still didn't know if Ryan Tannehill would be starting, which if Malik Willis started, I think it would definitely be. I'd choose the Chiefs, but I still think I'm leaning Chiefs even if Tannehill plays because the Chiefs have just looked that good.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs' offense. I think the Titans stand, they'll keep it relatively close, but I think the Chiefs will just kind of overwhelm them. I'm still pretty much in the boat that you have in the AFC, you've got the Bills and the Chiefs, and then just a huge drop-off after them. I think a lot of those teams behind those two teams are a lot worse than the Chiefs and the Bills, so... pretty easy.
I'd say a little bit further, you probably got the Chargers, Bengals, and Dolphins, but from there on,
it's a very big talent drop-off right there. Not that those other teams aren't good, I just think it shows how good the Bills and the Chiefs are, really.
Yeah.
Because they are both, really for the last few years, the Bills maybe not as much, but at least last year, both of those teams dominated for the most part. So I think that's a pretty easy matchup. So basically a clean sweep down the AFC side. Neither of us picked anything different. And now we go to the AFC versus the NFC matchups where we have the 7-0 Eagles taking on the 1-5-1 Texans. Wouldn't it be hilarious if they get their first loss this week against the Texans?
And it would, but
while I would like that to happen, I'm not gonna be dumb and predict it to happen. So I think I'm gonna go Eagles on this one.
Yeah, I think.
Well, before you pick, you've got to think the Texans are the home team, though. So maybe that sways it in their favor,
Yeah. I'm staying with the Eagles.
I'm actually going to go tie on this one. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think any of us have picked a tie this year, so.
No.
I think that would be the craziest prediction of the year if one of us picked tie and it actually ended up being a tie.
Yeah.
That would be like, I think whoever did that would probably just go ahead and win the series right then and there. But both of us go Eagles on that. Next up, we've got the Dolphins and the Bears. The Bears, a team that have steadily, as much as I hate to say it, they look like they've improved at least over the last few weeks.
Yeah, and they added Chase Claypool, which I don't expect him to have a huge impact.
Yeah.
In his first game, but I don't know. I still think Dolphins. They looked on fire again last week.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tua is becoming a really good quarterback, and unfortunately, the Dolphins seem to want him dead, so that's kind of an issue there. But the Dolphins' offense is unstoppable, and I don't see the Bears' defense being able to stop them. So, as much as I hate to say it again, I'm going to agree with you on that one and go with the Dolphins. And maybe we pick different on this next matchup because I'm gonna predict a weird one here: the Panthers and the Bengals.
All right, I just got what is it? McAfee thing saying that this website is trying to give me a virus. So that's nice.
Interesting.
Right. You said Dolphins.
Yeah, I said Dolphins on that one.
Yeah.
Panthers, Bengals. Where do you stand on this one now?
I mean, the Panthers have looked good, but the last couple weeks they've looked good, but I don't think it's gonna overtake the Bengals.
Yeah.
The Bengals, just like I said, they're in that second tier of teams. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but just to be different, I'm gonna take the Panthers on this one.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're going to carry that momentum. Really, once you bench Baker Mayfield, it's only up from there. There's no worse you can get. No, I just want to make sure we have a different game, so I'm going to take the Panthers on that one.
I got you.
Not that they necessarily will win, but I'd like to see them win. Imagine that the Panthers finish second in their division above the Buccaneers and Saints.
Yeah.
That would be a very exciting ending to the season. Especially after being the 14th seed right now in that conference. But next up we have the Chargers coming off of a bye week taking on the Falcons.
Yeah, I don't know. This is another one where I want to say Chargers, but they have choked so many games that they should have won.
You just feel like the Chargers they never disappoint you. They always seem to lose the games they should win. It's something you can count on if you're a Chargers fan. I don't really know which way I'm leaning on this one.
I'm gonna go Chargers. I feel like every time I feel like picking the Falcons, they lose.
Yeah. So. The Falcons are just such a weird team to gauge. I feel like they've been fairly competitive in almost all of their games this year.
Yeah.
But like you, I'm gonna stick with the Chargers on this. Try to pick a little smarter than I usually do. And now we get to the final AFC versus NFC matchup, and we have the Ravens and the Saints. The Saints who, if we're correct, they just shut out the Raiders last week. So an impressive defensive effort there, but they still just sit at 3-5 so far on the season.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me kind of wants to pick the Saints here.
I'm going to go Ravens just to go ahead and get that out there because I think the Ravens, they have to win one of these games eventually where it seems like they always lose when it's like a close game.
But I'm going to go Saints, do something different.
Yeah, I had to pick the Ravens because I now have picked every left side team in this AFC versus NFC matchup, and I didn't want to mess with fate there. So I wanted to pick the Ravens on that one. And
I'm sure you want to keep going with the left on the NFC, though, right?
yeah, sure. Um,
This would be the game the Packers would lose.
so
No, I'm
beginning
gonna give them
in the
the benefit of the doubt.
NFC, Packers Lions. I'm taking the Lions on this one.
Really?
Yes, because I feel I cannot trust the Packers anymore.
Oh my goodness! No, I'm going Packers.
Our defense might quite possibly be so atrocious that we allow Jared Goff to throw like 7 touchdowns or something. And honestly, wouldn't be opposed to it as long as a few of those go to Amon-Ra St. Brown. So at this point, I support my fantasy team more than I support my real team. But
I think the Packers, they just got to put it together at some point. But
yeah.
And they started to at the end of the game last week. But
yeah, I mean, they only allowed, 3 points in the entire second half against a good...
Against the...
You could argue that the Bills kind of felt like the game was over, so they stopped playing as hard. But still, it looked like the Bills' offense was trying to get down the field and score. So
yeah. They forced a couple interceptions.
Yeah, they forced... It was kind of funny. Josh Allen threw an interception... Aaron Rodgers threw an interception, and then the next play, Josh Allen threw another interception. So we went from, we might come back to, oh, no, and then, we might come back again. But unfortunately, that did not happen. So I'm going to go with the Lions on that one. Hopefully I'm wrong. It seems like every time I choose the Packers, they lose. So maybe I can use a little bit of a reverse psychology for the Packers to win there. And next up, we have the 6-1 Vikings taking on the Commanders. Now, a good NFC North team would never lose to the Commanders. That is what I always stand by. It'd just be very embarrassing if you did.
I'm actually going to go Commanders here because I feel like they've been on a roll with Heineke, and the Vikings, I still think they're a good team. Obviously they're 6-2, but or after this pick, but I think kind of like the Giants last week, some game's going to have to come up where the Vikings lose. I feel like this could be the one.
I do agree. I think the Commanders look a lot better with Taylor Heineke in, but with that in mind, I'm going to still stick with the Vikings. It's going to be a tough fight if the Commanders want a chance to make the playoffs, considering how good their division is, and I think they lose what is a very important game to them Sunday against the Vikings. But they might be able to put up a fight.
And by my predictions, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, if they win, they get that 7th seed. Right now, they're sitting at the 8th seed, and Packers sit at the 12th seed. So that's a little disappointing. And then now we get into the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Seahawks upset your Giants last week. Geno Smith looks good still.
The Cardinals, I'm just not sold on them, and I'm wanting to pick the Seahawks here.
I'm not even going to call it an upset at this point. I'm staying with the Seahawks too. I've been, if my Packers don't make the playoffs, honestly, I'm going to be rooting for the Seahawks to at least make some type of noise just because of their story. So,
I saw a meme today. It said the Broncos have reached out to trade Russell Wilson for Geno Smith.
Yeah, I know. Maybe I think the Broncos could maybe trade for a good young guy like Drew Lock. Maybe he could really help accelerate their quarterback room.
Because the Seahawks, they don't need a quarterback.
No, they've got Geno. So you're going Seahawks on that one as well?
Yeah.
All right, and now we get into the final NFC matchup: the LA Rams taking on wifeless Tom Brady.
The battle of the disappointing super teams. I'm going to go Buccaneers here. I don't know. Cooper Kupp is injured now. I think at some point Tom Brady and his receivers have to connect because we mentioned before, it's not on Tom Brady how bad the Buccaneers have done because a lot of other people have had mistakes.
Yeah.
And he's only got one interception on the season.
I mean, it obviously, I know this isn't how the entire game went, but when the biggest highlight of your game is Mike Evans dropping a wide open touchdown pass, you know there's a lot of issues going on there. And with my predictions, did you choose the Falcons to win? I believe you did, didn't you? Or did you go with the Chargers?
No, Chargers.
Yeah, so by our predictions, that would have the Buccaneers overtaking them in the division, but still a pretty tight race there. With the Panthers are my predictions 3-6, but then on yours they're 2-7 probably. So it's going to vary a little bit. Yeah, they're 3-6 on mine, so it's going to vary a little bit, but there's still a lot of close races either way in a lot of the divisions. Honestly. My best bet, the Packers probably only have a few more weeks to fight for a last playoff spot.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like this week is a maybe or definitely a must win because we don't want to fall behind the Bears or anything like that in the next couple of weeks. That's just going to make it even harder. So
yeah, and like the 49ers seem to be coming back up.
Yeah, I mean,
Christian McCaffrey
definitely helps when, you know, you're struggling and your front office makes a trade to make you better. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think maybe the Packers should look into that the next few years.
I did see apparently Brandon Cooks is close to demanding a release, and they're talking like either the Giants, Packers, something like that could be in on.
I mean, the Giants don't need anybody,
but...
so I mean, the Giants can just leave them for us. You'll have
you'll have
David Stills.
Yeah, we'll take Odell as long as we get some receiver.
Yeah. Hopefully, though, after this week, I can keep my 500 record. I feel like it's probably going to be one of those things where I don't have it the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But at least we both had 1 week where we were both over 500 overall record-wise. I know we've had successful weeks in the past together, but you still hold a little bit of a lead on me, and I think this week's where that's going to change. I'm really feeling that Panthers-Bengals pick over there. I think that one's a smart one to do. If you're a betting person, put all your money on the Panthers.
You might have people after your head. After
I know. But yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much going to wrap it up on this Week 9 prediction. Anything else you'd like to say before we check out of this one, Mr. Graves?
No, that's about it.
All right. Thank you all for continuing to join us. Sorry again for missing last week, but I'm feeling a lot better, and I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button and subscribe to both of our channels. As always, links to both in the descriptions down below in our respective videos. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.
Peace.